Well, welcome. I'd like to thank each of you for coming. We're excited today to have you here. My name is Wayne Hockley from Mibusoft, and I have on the line with us as well Adam Thomas and Tom Totten from Targit. And our goal today is to take you through, show you some of the software, the Targit software, give you a sense of its capabilities so that you can look and examine what the possibilities are for your company. So I have a few slides I'd like to start off with, just as an introduction. But before we go there, just want to say we're very proud of the partnership we have with Targit. And you know, one of the things at Mibusoft, we've probably all seen this quote before: "What's measured improves," by Peter Drucker. And you know, we've taken that a little bit further, and we've said, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And if you can't manage it, you can't improve it. And if you can't improve it or manage it or measure it, it probably won't get done. And that's been my experience in my years in industry. But you know what? Today's presentation, what if we could measure it and automate it and present it? Then we can manage it. And you know, I think that's the big goal for today's presentation, to help companies manage it. So yeah, next slide. So just a brief introduction of Mibusoft. Sean Arsenault is the founder of the company. It was formed in 2008. We have 35 consultants, a lot of experience, well over 100 implementations of different companies, and so we're very proud of the fact that that we have this partnership, you know, with Targit. So looking forward to showing that to you today. Next slide. A little bit about me. So my name is Wayne Hockley. My focus and help with Mibusoft is help move Mibusoft as we grow into the Ontario market. And so we've had a lot of success with that. And I've been in the business for over 25 years, and happy to help customers make sure that they understand what they're looking at, what if it's a good fit for them, and the relationship is a good fit. Okay, next slide. So here's some of the customers, you know, that we work with. Very proud of the relationships we have. If you talked with any of them, you'd find different stories about how Mibusoft was able to help them out. Today we're going to focus on with one of these customers, Arianta International. Next slide. Just do a quick case study. I just want to highlight a couple things about what we were able to do as far as Mibusoft and Targit. So who is Arianta? Well, they're the people who run all the duty-free shops, you know, at borders and airports across Canada. It's actually an international company, and we look after helping them on the Canadian side. Next slide. So their biggest problem was they had a lot of data in different places, and it was a real struggle for them. And in retail, especially this kind of retail environment, they needed to move things really quickly. So Catalan, who was our main contact, is our main contact at Arianta. He said this: with Targit, we can analyze and view the data needed in one cohesive report. We can run scenarios like, what will the impact be on sales and profitability if our capture rate increases by 1, 2, or 3%? In retail, being able to measure at a very finite level is extremely important. And in their environment, they have a lot of issues with regulation, as you can imagine, in the duty-free industry. Next slide. So them, they needed to be able to quickly get information, and that's been the struggle that they've had. If we could head to the next slide, that'd be great. And so this is what they were able to say after we were able to help them. Target allows us to strategically plan our product inventory based on the custom allowances to make the most profitable stocking decisions. For them, a lot of factors come together for their stocking decisions, even how they negotiate shelving space with their vendors. And they need to understand a lot of the external things like flight routing and that kind of thing that affects the sell-through of the kinds of products that they put on their shelves. So they're able to look ahead and forecast and they should put on their shelves before those changes happen. It's been a huge impact for their business. Next slide. So Mibusoft, our team was able to come in, help them walk through this, help get all the data into one place, help them identify the KPIs that they needed, and they've been able to measure those things now. And this is the #1 tool that their management team now uses when measuring the health of their company. Next slide. Okay, thank you. So, what's Mibusoft? Well, we would be your implementation team and ongoing support partner. That's who we are. We would help look after getting all the data, make sure that you're ready to go, trained up and ready to use the tool. And Targit is the software tool. And you're going to see it today, and I'm excited for you to see it because I think you're going to see some things that are very unique to this software platform and that we think really allows it to be used by not just 1 or 2 or 5 people in the organization, but broadly across your organization, empowering your people to have the opportunity to improve and to manage it. Okay, next slide. Oh, there is one more slide there. Just want to mention that we have an offer for you, and that is maybe I didn't put it in there. Sorry, guys, if I messed up.
No,
but
you did, Wayne. Let me go to the bottom here. I didn't know that was going to be. I thought we were going to talk about that at the end. My apologies.
No.
Just scroll through here real quick and go through everything.
Anyway, we have an offer for you for coming today, and the offer really is a try-it offer. So if you want to try Targit based on what you see today, we have a 30-day trial. You can use it. Our team at Mibusoft will get set up. We'll set the system up against your own data, so you can actually try it using your own data. And we'll also give you online training. So that's enough maybe to give you a taste and a good opportunity to see what the tool is and how it can help your organization. So anyway, Adam, I'm going to let you take it away. Sorry for messing up the slide there, but looking forward to Adam Thomas showing us through. So thanks, Adam.
No problem, Wayne, and thank you. I apologize for everybody for the little difficulty we had right there. But as Wayne mentioned, it's a great partnership that we have. We brought in a lot of good customers together, and we hope to continue to do so. A little bit about Targit, a little bit about myself and Tom. I am the Customer Success Manager for North America, and Tom is our Senior Sales Engineer with Targit, so he's one of the best experts we have within the company of how to deploy and how to use Targit. So we should be pretty well prepared for today. A little bit about Targit, if you're not familiar with us, we've been in North America, in the United States, since about 2001, but we actually been a company founded in Denmark over 30 years ago, and we've been doing business intelligence for that long. And so we're experts not only in AV, but AX, as well as at SQL, and everything we have is built 100% on the Microsoft stack. I think that's one reason why we're such a good fit for what Mibusoft likes to do. Worldwide, we have just over 5,500 customers, as well as 9 patents to back up the Target Decision Suite 2015, which is you're going to see today. And we had our released version come out this past in 2015, June 30th, and our newest version is going to be coming out around the same time this coming year as well. So really to kind of get into Targit and see how it works. Really, that's how we start off with it. Targit is a all tools, one platform. Not only can you view Targit on a desktop client, you can view it on a web client, you can view it on a mobility device, whether it's an iOS, an Android, or Windows. We have links to your different BI accelerators, to SharePoint, to CRM integration. Again, we are pretty much in tune with the Microsoft stack, and so whatever ERP or you're using, we can connect to it. But no matter what device you're on, you can always have access to your data. But the big thing as well is not only how can you use it, but who can use it. And so really within Targit, it's not just meant for your heavy analysts your IT, your IT proficient people. Really what it is meant for is for all your business users. And hopefully we're going to be able to show that today, is how no matter what role you play within your organization, no matter what department you're in, you can use Target to the best of your abilities, and you can make it work for you. So it doesn't matter if you're a CEO and just want to have a general overview of how your company is doing across your different departments, whether in just Canada, or if you're, have global operations, or if you're in finance and you're the CFO and you want to take a look and see, what your current income and balance sheet is looking like, not only maybe for this month, but maybe let's project out and look for the quarter. When it comes to marketing, we have a lot of times people say, how come marketing gets left out of the fold? At Target, we have, we work really well with Google Analytics, and so a lot of times our marketing departments that we work with find real value within Target as well, because they can take a look at the Google trends and see how things are shaping out on the outside of their data, and then correspond with how their data is being reflected internally from their internal ERP. So no matter who it is, there's different personas within your company, they all can really find value within Target. And as I mentioned, we integrate with the complete Microsoft stack. So what we do is we deploy everything from your different ERP solutions. And the great thing with Target is it's just not Microsoft. We actually also connect to different data sources as well, combined into one data warehouse, and then that deploys into the front end for the Target solution. And that's what you're going to see today. So I know that we're going to talk a lot about how we connect and work with Microsoft. Also keep in mind that we also connect to external data sources, and I'll show you that as well. So before we get into Target, the demo, I actually wanted to take you through really quick and show you the decision-making action loop that Target is based on. And as we go back to our personas that I mentioned before, no matter who you are within the company, everyone is going to be starting off at some point in more of like an observation phase. Whether it's looking at a dashboard, looking at a report, they might get an email notification agent. They're all starting off somewhere. And what they need to be able to do is not only take that information, but then make it useful. And that's when you always go into the orientation phase. Here's where you're going to be able to filter through different criterias, use drill downs, hopefully within as least amount of clicks as possible to find the answers you need. And so based on that, you can now go to the decision phase, because all the information you're looking at is being pulled from your ERP, your different data sources, into your cubes. And so everything you know is in one platform. You know everything's going to be based on facts. So that's where the courage part comes in. You have the courage to act, because you can make changes if need be. You can communicate internally or externally with this data. And I think one of the biggest things is within Target is that you now can become more proactive with your data instead of just being reactive. Not necessarily waiting till the end of the month before you make decisions. You can make decisions on the fly. And that's what BI and Target specifically can do for you. And as I mentioned before, with the Target Mobility and the Target Anywhere, our mobility apps are very highly rated. These are native apps that you can go to the iTunes App Store and download, or go to Google Play and download a free 30-day trial. All you have to do is enter Target Touch. But all the different dashboards, reports that we're going to show you today, and how to use Target on a web client version and on a desktop version, you also could utilize and see right there on your smartphone, your iPad, or your Surface device. So really, no matter where you're going, you still have that access to data. As you can see on the left-hand side there, right when you have an app, just like you do with other notifications, when we set up these notifications on the desktop side, they will immediately be funneled to your phone or your device as well. So just great to be able to know that you can have access to your data no matter where you're at. And that's what you can do with Target Mobility. And finally, before we get into the demo, just want to reiterate, Target, we're on a mission. It's to help organizations perform better by enabling more and faster driven decisions throughout the entire organization. It's no longer just a few important people having access to the data. It's everyone within your organization having the access to whatever data certain people allow them to have. We do have a lot of security set up within Target, but the goal is to allow people to be self-sufficient and allow people to make faster, quicker decisions. So right now we're going to go into the demo. We're going to end the slideshow. If you have any questions as we're going through this, feel free just to type them in the chat box at the bottom. We're going to have plenty of time left over to go over those as well. This demonstration won't take probably more than 20-25 minutes. So again, if you have any questions, just type them there, and we will definitely get to them before we're done. And also, as a reminder, we are recording this, So if there's anybody within your organization that hasn't had the opportunity to join in today, we can go ahead and forward that on to them as well so they can see it. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to go into what we call the Target Anywhere client and start here. And this is designed mainly for consumers and users to obtain and process information really quickly. It's for them to be able to get to this information as fast as they can, and this is just right on the web right now. And so what this is meant for is that people at this moment, no matter if they're just a consumer of data or information user, or they can even be a designer of data that just wants to see some things that they've already designed, this is a great, sleek, and quick tool to use. And so, for instance, now what we're doing is that we're looking at just kind of a dashboard overview. We can say this might be what a CEO would be looking at if they want to go in every day in the morning and take a look and see how their company is performing. So right now we're looking at a couple different objects, as we call it. Our growth is not as maybe high as we would like, a little over 2%, but our profit's doing really well, and our growth overall in revenue is doing really well. But if I want to take a look at to see how come maybe we're only slightly 2%, maybe we can take a deeper dive and see where we can improve in certain areas. So all I do is that when I click on growth, what it does is it triggers me to another layer dashboard, and what it does is it carries over that criteria that I had. So I'm really only focusing right now on the growth, and it's showing me where we're having maybe the smallest growth at, and that's our units sold. So what I have here on my other dashboard is that I'm seeing now a little bit deeper layer of my data, my sales managers across my different stores that I have, my top 10 salespeople, our top 10 customers. And now I can start to see a little bit better into maybe where we're hitting some slow spots in, and see maybe if we can identify that right now. And since we're so early in the year, we can address it. We can be having a really great year and improve our overall growth in units sold. So if I want to focus on my top salesperson here, what I can do is I can click on Vern here, and I'm noticing that while his profit and his revenue is doing really well, his actual units sold is down 11% if we compare it to where we were to last year. So right now I have my top salesperson. While they're doing well, I actually know that while the quantity or the number amount of this each sale they're making is high, they're actually selling less than they were last year compared to this year. So that to me right there is a red flag. So if I want to do that, I want to actually go take a deeper dive into it. I'm going to go into my analysis details. And again, it's going to carry over the criteria that I was looking at just for Vern. And now I can really see now where he's having trouble with his units sold. And right now it looks like he's having some trouble, some negative growth in Canada, as well as some parts of Europe. So now what I can do is I can really hone in, work with Vern, or have contact his sales manager and see if they can really help Vern and see what the issues are. If you look here, we can see some negative growth on the left-hand side in this object. And since it's early in the year, we can address it now, and therefore we can rectify it so it's not a problem going forward for the rest of the year. So right there is just a quick example of how in this view right now with our dashboards, we can layer them. You can see a more granular level of data. And just within 3 clicks, we really were able to take an overall company dashboard view, identify where we're having some negative growth, identify the specific salesperson and what regions of the world they're doing it. So now we can rectify it as quickly as possible instead of having to wait till the end of the year. If we want to start back and go to where we were in the beginning, we have it set up here, and Tom was the genius behind this. He can set it up. So that way we can go back to our dashboard overview. And so we go back to where we were to begin with, because we might want to take a deeper dive and look at the other parts of the organization. So what you can see here is that if I want to look at any of these numbers behind the data, it's really easy for me to do so. I can go here, look at this overview dashboard. If I want to look at my dashboard details, or I might want to say, let's take a deeper dive and look. I just want to look at the raw numbers from our top 10 salespersons. All I have to do is right-click and go to Show Data. So right now I can see that pretty much everybody on their year to date is doing really well, except we only have about one person right now, and that's Sanjeev when it comes overall to an overall revenue standpoint. If I wanted to benchmark a couple people against one another, I can do that as well just by going on right-clicking, and I can go now here to multi-select if I would like to. And so that way it allows me to group together and look at different salespeople's all at one and see how that data reflects my other objects. Another thing we can do with this is if I want to export to Excel and send this off to somebody else, I can do that. I simply click on Export to Excel. As I pull it over, it's now compatible with Excel, and I can send this off to somebody else if they're not in Target, or I can just save it for my own consumption as well. So a lot of different ways you can use Target and then fashion it and put it in a different format so other people can utilize and see it as well. So that's our Anywhere client. That's a great way for, like I said, for more of your consumer users, or if you're busy, you're on the fly, and you just want to quickly type in your URL, it gives you really quick access to a lot of your dashboards and reports. Not only that, but if we go down here, we can see that we have a lot of access. We can play around with our different dynamic dates here. Right now, everything we're looking at is through the end of day yesterday, which was March 2nd. We can funnel through and take a look at and just see how we were doing at the end of month end. And you can see that my dashboards are automatically changing to reflect just the end of February. Also, what we do in this view, you have access to not only the dashboard that popped up immediately when I went into it, but also we have access to our different shared documents, whether it be finance, inventory, production, sales. So again, true insight into your organization, even if you're not necessarily in the actual desktop Windows client at that time. So now we're going to go into and actually show it would be for most of your users when they're using it on the desktop Windows client. And what we're going to do is that we are going to log in real quick and go into the Target solution. So now, when I go to the Target solution, you'll notice that this dashboard looks very familiar. This was the exact one that we were just looking at in the Anywhere client. If I go to here and I go to my view, you can see I can get rid of a lot of these different features that we have within Target, and it really starts to resemble pretty much what we were just using in the Anywhere client. So this obviously is a view. If you want to have it set up as your default, it gives you a lot more screen space. You can actually have this as your default way of looking at data, because you might not necessarily want to design anything. You just want to go off what's already been built and drill through and go through everything. But say at this point in time, you really do want to be able to start utilizing a lot of the different features that we have within Target, and you want to be able to start creating maybe some new analyses or dashboards from scratch, we can do that as well. So what I can do is I just go to my view here, and I'm going to start unlocking a lot of the different other features that we deploy here at Target. Our navigation bar, which is a great way if you want to enable shortcuts for your different departments. You can house dashboards, reports for different departments such as sales, finance, production, inventory, and as I mentioned earlier, we're on our earlier slide, marketing as well. If I want to go ahead and enable the Smart Pad, this is going to give me some quick access to a lot of my documents, my different cubes, my different properties, calculations, ways that we can create some advanced analytics within Target. The criteria bar, another great way that you can filter through and utilize Target is the criteria bar. So we'll start off that first. If I want to add time and be able to filter through time and say, I know that we're looking at currently what we were doing between 2015 to 2016, I can just drag and drop the time dimension over here. And traditionally, you can look through your data and look at it more on just a year level, a quarter level, a month level, or just a day level. But with Target, we even give you a more even advanced level of data that you can do, and we utilize that called dynamic time. So what I can do is I can just right-click, and I can actually use dynamic periods. And what dynamic periods allow me to do is it allows me to get even to a finer level of data. So I can start doing comparisons. I can start looking to see what we were doing year to date, exactly March 3rd compared to what we're doing this year. I can take a look at what we're doing last year and this month compared to this month. So it really does give you, and these are pre-built. This is not something that has to be done on your end. It's something that Target does for you. So again, it's really quickly to be able to, with just a few clicks, get to some real insight into your data, and not necessarily have to be an IT expert or a DBA expert to really go in and utilize Target for all it can be. So as we go through here, again, I mentioned we'll just stay here. The document section. Right now, you can have it set up. You can have a favorites folder. The 5 or 6 dashboards, reports, analysis that you are going into on a day-to-day basis, you can have that set up. You can also have it set up for your different departments and users as well. If you know that there's some default data that you want them to see as soon as they log into Target. If you go to the shared section, you'll see at the top here it's very similar to what we were looking in the Anywhere client. So you have access to all your different finance data. You might have an income statement that you want to take a look at. As you can see, just some different views that we have within Target for your finance people. Your budget follow-up, your budget details, so on and so forth. As we go through, you can see, again, you can have it set up and have these different documents to house your different reports. So it's really quick for your users to go through. We then go down here to the source data. The source data is where you have access to your different cubes. You can have a master cube, or you can have it split up by different departments as well. We have companies do about 50-50, I would say, going through their data. So what we're going to do is that we're actually going to start showing you now how to build some of these things to show you that it's not as hard to do these as well for any type of user. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go up top here and hit reset. And that's always how you do that. Up top here and click on our intelligent wizard. And now we're going to show you how you might be able to build something from scratch. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. A real easy way is utilizing our intelligent wizard. And what I can do is that right now I'm looking in my source data, my sales cube. So what I want to do is that I just want to click through here and start looking at what is some data that I want to take a look at. So let's look at some revenue. Maybe let's look at our profit and our profit margin. And as I'm clicking through here, you'll start to notice it's almost kind of like a Google search, whereas Target's recognizing different dimensions or measures that you already have within your cube. So if it recognizes it, it's like, great, I know what Adam's trying to look for. So we're going to click on profit. We're also going to click on units sold. And I want to take a look at this by our different product groups. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on enter. And just like that, Target built a crosstab or an object that's showing a global view of your different product groups, the products, the actual that are underneath each product group, the profit, the revenue, and the profit margin. Now, if you want to shore up and just look at the product groups, you can actually just minimize your hierarchies as well. You can do that if you would like to. And so right now, this is just one object. If I want to go through and add another one, and I want to keep and look at a lot of the same profit, revenue, and profit margin, to save time, all I have to do is just right-click. I go on a new object, and we're just going to go down to the bottom here, and we're going to duplicate it. But instead of looking at the product here, I'm simply just going to cancel it out and say, I want to look at these three different measures, but now let's look at them by our different customer areas. And I want to take a look at it by our different countries that we have represented. So just like that, I have at my top object, I have my product group by profit, revenue, and profit margin. And now I have my customer country. This isn't something that we had to create. There wasn't any links that took a lot of time that had manually be done. It came right out of the box with Target. So this is a great way to show you that once you set up your accelerators on your Dynamics data, we pull in your other data sources. It's really quickly for Target and for you to start following through and looking through your data. So one great thing too is if we want to just hone in and say, let's take a look at Canada. When I hover on Canada, you'll notice that the top object now is just reflecting Canada as well. So the hyperrelation that exists between the objects makes it really easy to take a look at a global view. And now just we hone in on Canada, we can see what we're doing right now as far as overall from profit, revenue, and profit margin. You can always start over and go and just click in the white space and it takes you back. What we're going to do is we're going to add one more object to this, and we're going to go to my crosstab, and instead of doing a crosstab, we're actually going to do a bar chart. And I think what we're going to take a look at is let's look at our number of sales by our different sales managers. And so right now I'm looking at the profit, our number of sales by our different sales managers. If I want to add some different colors to this, I can just go to my property section up top here and use some auto agent. And Target built in right away is going to say, the higher number of sales, obviously we're going to default to that's good, so we're going to have it green, middle tier, a yellow or orange color, and then the negative is red. And so right now, if I want to go out here and utilize my hierarchies, I'm going to build them out a little bit more again. or hierarchies. We're going to break them out. Now what I want to say is that I want to use some color elements to this. And I want to take a look at my profit margin and see if Target can identify any red flags right away by adding some color, and Target can identify maybe some negative or not performing areas. So we're just going to go to right-click here, and we're going to add an intelligence agent. There's a lot of different ones you can do. If we just go to color element, let's just say we'll add 3 different types of color. Now as we scroll down, we can see here that everything is kind of neutral in the yellow. We have some decent growth in one of our different products, but I really see some negative growth in our Hugo Boss extra large, say black t-shirts. So if I want to stay abreast of this, I don't want to have to necessarily always go in and check every day how the profit margin is progressing or degressing. I can actually set up a notification alert within Target just by right-clicking, and Target's going to be working for me even if I'm not necessarily logged into Target. And so what I do is I go to notify me when profit margin changes in this context, because I want to know if it increases or decreases. And we'll say, let me know if it changes by more than 2%. What's going to happen is if it changes by more than 2%, I'm going to get an email letting me know that a change has been made with the review link that I can go immediately into that dashboard and take a look at it. Or if you want to head it and set it up for your different department heads or your different users, you can do that as well, and they'll get an email. You set the schedule. We're going to do and send this out maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let me know how we're going 3 times a week to give me an idea, and we'll do it pretty early in the morning at 8 a.m. We're just going to have this repeat on end until we feel that the profit margin is to where we want it to be. We don't have to monitor as much. Then we go to our delivery. I just type in my email address. I can add other ones as well. It's going to include the criteria. So maybe it's a couple weeks down the road. I had a lot on my mind that day. I was really busy. I might not exactly remember what my mindset was at that time. Target's going to give you a quick reminder as well and give you the criteria that was being used for that. And really what it's going to do is it's going to go right down here in the bottom to your scheduled jobs. We have companies that have 30, 40 of these set up. So again, they can be proactive instead of reactive with their data. And also it's going to trigger them to go into Target when they might not necessarily be working at Target in the moment. So we can just go back to our source data. And what I want to do now is I want to go up top here, and I really like this one. I like this dashboard. It's great. I think it'd be great for my head of my sales departments in different parts of the world. I'm going to go ahead and just save as. And now what I'm going to do, I can put this in the shared folder if I want to. So everyone in sales can see this. And we're just going to label this Mibusoft webinar sample. So now it's in the shared folder. Anyone who has access to the shared folder in your company can now go right in there. And that information is going to be updated however often you refresh your cubes. If it's just a nightly pull in the middle of the night, then it will reflect what was the final numbers from the day before. If you want to set up real-time analytics, you can do that as well within Target. So if you want to have up-to-date information, you want to go in there countless times per day, you can do that as well. And then that is how the data will be reflected within Target at that time. So right now, if we want to do that, we can go from there. If I want to now take a different step and say, you know what, I really do like this set of data I have right now. This would look really good in a report because my sales team meets every Monday morning at 8 a.m. I want to have them have access to this data. So I'm going to click in the white space. I'm just going to right-click, and I'm going to generate a report off this. So I go to Hyperrelate. I'm going to generate a report. I can create one from scratch, or I can actually utilize a template that we've already created, and that's what we're going to do here. So this looks really nice. It's something that's already been done. As we scroll through here, you can see now that I have that same crosstab or object, as we call it. Now it's just pulled into a report format. And as we scroll through here, I can see that everything has been reflected. What I don't maybe like right off the bat is that that's kind of a odd name for this. So what I want to do is that I'm going to go to Define, and I'm just going to change my report title. And what we're going to do is that we're going to label this, and we're just going to say current global sales. And we're going to go up and fetch data. So that looks really good right now. What we're going to do is that we're going to go ahead and save this as well. and we're just going to save as, and we're going to put this in the sales section as well, and we're going to call this Mibusoft report. So now if I go to my Mibusoft report, it's right there. So what I want to do is, if I want to have this set up so this is going to be sent to our different sales managers prior to our sales meeting, I can do that as well. So all I do is right click, I go to document, and I'm going to go ahead and schedule this one for export. We can keep the same title if we would like to. We can say, you know what, this is going to be going out, since we meet every Monday morning, let's go ahead and send this out first thing, maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, so they have a chance to look at it before we have our meeting. And we're going to do this, every Monday. The format, it's going to be in PDF format, especially for those of you in Canada. We have the option to send it out as French as well, so you can utilize different language types if you have offices or operations in a different part of the globe. And now it comes time for delivery. And we have 3 different ways that you can export a report. You can have it set up to a specific folder that is on the shared drive, if you'd like to do that, especially if it's on like a file share. Or if you want to, you can set it up so it goes to an individual or a group email. Or if you want to take an even deeper dive and have Targit really work for you and create a bunch of different reports just off this one master report we've done, we can actually utilize our batch processing feature. So all I do is I utilize it, click on here, and I'm going to go to my sales cube. And now what I want to do is that I might want to send, instead of sending that general global sales report to everybody so everyone's looking at data, I might want to say, you know what, I want my sales managers to only really see their sales team, because that's really the ones they're responsible for. So I go to salesperson, I go to sales manager, and we're going to click on them. And so what Target's going to do is it's going to take that report that we've saved, that's still generating and updating once a day. Every Monday morning at 7 a.m., it's going to send that same report, but it's only going to send the data for Fina's team, Justin's team, Maggie's team, and Parvay's team. So really what it does, it helps those who are the ones responsible for designing reports and distributing and exporting, saving them a lot of steps. They no longer have to create 5 reports. They create 1 report, and the Target's going to create the other 4 for them. So they're just going to get that data. You can do the same exact thing if we want to take a step back. We want to do that to our different salespeople. We actually can take that same report and send it to each individual salespeople, so that way they can be made aware also of how they're doing. So they don't necessarily always have to have their sales manager on top of them. They can be proactive as well. So they can then take that report, go into Target, and they can stay aware of their data. So the goal is to make everyone aware of what's going on with their data, and so that everyone can be self-sufficient as possible. So right there we did through a couple things, just to kind of give you a quick summary, because I know that we got about maybe 10 more minutes of our demo before we get into question and answer. Is that really what we wanted to show you today was, just within the product so far, was that you can utilize Target more from just an information user consumer with our Target Anywhere on the web. You then can utilize and you look at those same dashboard reports on a mobility device. But also if you're more of the designer, developer user, you can go into Target, utilize a vast number of features to either create a report or analysis from scratch, to edit or redefine one that's already been created as you want to touch it up as you're constantly improving your data-driven organization. So there's some ways you can see here, hopefully, that it was very quickly and easily able to see your data, but also to make it work for you. Finally, the last thing I want to kind of go over here is that Target also, as I mentioned, handles not just your ERP or your Dynamics data. It handles a vast number of other data sources. And that data sources can be connected on the back end, so it's being also funneled into your data warehouse and into your cubes. Well, a great thing what Target allows you to do, especially for your analysts, it allows them to analyze data on the front end without necessarily having to go all the time through the back end, because you might get some Excel sheets, you might have access to some big data dumps from either Quandl, access to HTML tables. You want to be able to look at those on the fly, and you might want to utilize some of Target's features as well, and you might not be able to utilize it in its current format, whether it's in Excel form or HTML table form. So really all we do is, and I promise not to get too advanced here, just to show you briefly how this can be done. So what we do is we just go up top here to our data modeler. And when we go in, what it wants to do is we're going to be able to build a cube or add a cube on the fly. And what we want to do is we want to utilize the different data sources that are out there and see which ones would be best for us at this moment in time. So I go up to Add Data Source. You can see here we have a lot of different options. We can connect to Google Analytics, Google Trends, HTML tables, OData, Oracle, Quandl, SQL Server, Twitter if we want to, for your marketing people. But really what we want to do is just for this example, we just want to go out and take a look at, let's just grab an Excel sheet. So I click on Excel, I want to give it a name, and we're just going to call this again, stick with the same theme and call this Mibusoft Webinar Sample. And it's a local file. We're going to go and find that file, and we're just going to browse through, and it's going to be on my desktop right now. And right now, as we look through it here, we are going to be taking a look at and finding sample sales. And we're going to give it OK. As we go through here, what you have the option to do is hit Load First Visible Sheet or select a sheet from list. Right now, currently, we're going to just keep it from the cost, so we're going to just go and say, let's load the first visible sheet, and we're going to click on Save. And so now, if I go here, I can go back now to my cubes, and I can say, take a look at it. Now let's go ahead, and we're going to add the cube in Target. I go up top here, add the cube, and I just go to my Excel sheet, and we are going to go in here and find our sample sales. And we just have to bring it over here. And what I want to do is that I want to go ahead and make this a fact table. There we go. And we're going to keep it and give it the same title, same sales, sample sales. Click on Save. And once that's saved, now we can go back in actual Target front-end solution. And we're going to go to our cube source data, and we're going to go find it. And here it is right there, sample sales. Just that quickly, Target was able to take an external Excel sheet, bring it over within Target, and you might now be able to utilize some of Target's features and be able to splice and dice through the data, maybe a little bit better than you would if it was just in its original Excel format. So I click on sample sales. As you can see here, it brought in all my different dimensions. If I go to sum, it now brought in all my different sample sales through here. So if I want to go through here and just take a look at a credit memo, I could right click and I could add as an object. I can see here and go through that. If I want to utilize some other ones, I can go through as well. But you can see here, you can also obviously right within Target go through and start adding and going through your different data. And it creates that mini cube. What it also can be done, if we go back into Data Modeler, you can build a more dynamic and a cube looking at a lot of different sources. We've already went ahead and built one of those, and that right now is called our webinar example. We're utilizing 3 different data sources. So if I go to my cubes and we want to take a look at it, we can go from there. And what it's doing is it's connecting these 3 different Excel sheets and creating a mini cube with a lot more layers. So if we go back here, we can go back to Target, and we can go to our source data, and we can find that one as well, webinar example. And we just click through here, and what we want to do is that we want to go to our, you can see here that we are utilizing a lot of different dimensions, and then we're utilizing also a lot of different measures here as well that we were on the first round. So what I want to take a look at, might want to look at my item by my different cost. So I can just right click through here and I can add that. As you can see here, I might have liked using a funnel chart, which is another one of our objects that we can use. So that's how this first set of data came through here. But what I might also want to do now is add another one. So I just right click, go up top here, and we're going to add another crosstab. And what this one's going to be is going to be item by quantity. And so now I have my different, when I'm looking at through here, it's the different products that we offer, the different items we have, and the costs that we brought in with those. Now we're looking at the different items that we have and the number of quantity of ones we've actually sold, physical quantities. If I want to hyperrelate, I can just click on my top one here. And as you can see here, the data is going to be reflected, and the drill through and the hyperrelations are going to reflect. And so really, we took 3 Excel sheets that were just in a directory, brought them in, and Target was able to build a mini cube on the fly. So just a quick example. It's another tool for your DBAs and your analysts to really use Target really to their full advantage. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope I didn't go too fast. I hope that we showed you how different user types and different personas within your organization might be able to use Target, how different departments can, and how you can view your data in a lot of different ways, whether it's viewing on a web device, your desktop Windows device, a mobile device, utilizing the data coming from your ERP, your Dynamics, but also your external data sources that you might want to take a look at through the front end. So, Wayne, I'm going to pass it back over to you and let you close up here and see if we have any questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you walking us through there. Saw some great things. I love that ability to build a report using language I understand, and I think that meets the goal of helping to spread this out across the organization. So yeah, there is. First question here is, Adam, is what size of companies typically use Target? Do you have to have DBAs, that kind of thing, that kind of skill set on staff? What kind of companies typically are using this tool? I'll hand it back to you.
That's a great question. No, you don't have to have DBAs on staff, and that's the beauty with Target is that it's really we're giving high marks not only through the Gartner surveys, through the BARC surveys, which are independent BI research companies, for our ease of use and our quick deployment. So some companies do have DBAs, but others don't. You have people working obviously with Mibusoft who are able to design and create a lot of different dashboards or reports for you that maybe a DBA would normally do for themselves. And once that's done, we have Target training here as well that we can take you through and help your different users become proficient within Target. And you'll start to see, once you kind of just get in there and just spend an hour or two, you'll start to see for yourself how easy it is to use. As far as size of companies, again, it differs. We have companies that do $1 billion in sales, companies that do $5 million in sales. Really, if there's certain data sources or dynamics that you're having a hard time reporting off of, utilizing our accelerators, we can get you up and running pretty quickly in viewing that data. So again, we're here for you. Mibusoft's here for you. So really, you don't need a DBA to be able to utilize Target.
Great. So just a reminder, if anyone has a question, they can pop that in there. A second question that I have here is, so there's a lot of features. When companies implement Target, do they tend to implement the whole thing up front, like all of the features, or is it a phased approach often?
I'll answer that, and if Tom wants to jump in as well. But we typically, I would think, like to promote more of a phased approach. I mean, the goal really is a quick return on investment. And so a lot of times the success we've had with companies is that when we do our workshops, or when Microsoft does their workshops, identifying what are the most important sets of data or data points that you want to connect to and look at right off the bat. Get those up and running, and once you become proficient looking at those, then you can start to phase in and do other ones. Some of the issues that we see with your big deployments, whether it's SAP, Oracle, is that it takes about a year for you really to see a return on investment. With Target, companies start seeing a return on investment in a matter of weeks. Tom, did you want to add anything to that? Nope, I don't think you did. So hopefully that answered your question as well. So.
Yeah, there is another question off the floor. So what is the cost of Target? Is it a one-time cost, or is there an annual fee?
Sure. Target, from a software standpoint, is a one-time fee. It really depends on, we have a lot of different license types. We have a developer license for your power user who has both front-end and back-end access. Typically, companies only have 1 to 3 of those. Then we have an advanced license for your working designers of data, maybe your analysts, your department heads, maybe your executive VPs, and then we have a normal license, which is for more consumers of data, people that aren't going to be designing anything. So really, the cost determines of how big your organization is, but when we identify what user types would be best for you. And we also have a lot of different add-on modules that you can do within Target, so you can kind of be like a la carte and really tailor it to yourself. So I'm not trying to avoid the cost question, but it really does depend on your organization, and that's usually addressed when we go through kind of like a discovery call and see what best fits for you. But again, the software part is paid up front, and then there's just a yearly maintenance a percentage that's paid after that. And what that does is that maintains all current updates, that provides tech support, as well as access to our customer portal, customer user form, which is a great tool for a lot of our customers.
Good, thank you. Yeah, a follow-up question is, does Mibusoft install Target and create the initial data links, or is that done by Target programmers? So if it's okay, I'll answer that one.
Sure.
So Mibusoft does that's part of the service that we typically would expect to be doing for companies. We install the Target, we get the data set, build the data warehouse, go through that process working with you, but it is really done very closely with the Target team. So, but we have a lot of expertise on our team as well from Mibusoft. So, whoever's best able to, meet the specific requirements is really the answer. But Mibusoft takes on that responsibility. So, I hope that. Adam, do you have anything further to add on that?
No, not at all. I mean, we've had a great success with the customers that Mibusoft has partnered with us, and we never hear any complaints from their customers of how it's been implemented, and they do a really great job as far as connecting all the different data points and going through and just maintaining a great relationship with their customers.
Thank you. All right. If there's any more questions, I'll just remind you again that we do have the 30-day try it promo. So, you know what, if you're interested in that, you could reach out to me or anyone at Mibusoft to follow up on that, and Sean and I will get back to you, and we can start to put the things in place. So, Adam, thank you for walking us through. Just checking if there's see any there. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. We're hoping this was valuable for you, a good use of your time. Again, thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody.